All right. Welcome, family. This is Breck Latney On Air, the show where we give up-and-coming artists a platform to promote their hard work and the platform for them to talk about their own journey. Ladies and gentlemen, I have the 10-year experienced producer turned into freshly new A&R. I have Hänz Nobe. Is that correct, sir?
Yeah, that's absolutely correct.
All right.
Nice.
Real quick round of applause for Hänz Nobe. Bring it in. Yeah.
Yeah, let's get to it.
First and foremost, sir, how are you doing today?
I'm good, man. I actually took today off, so I got some sleep, which is rare.
Nice. We're all in the same atmosphere right there. Got a little extra hours of sleep, so I appreciate that.
We all love sleep. Who does not love sleep? Let's just take a moment and appreciate,
Oh, man.
getting some sleep. Oh, man. Yes, sir. So welcome to Breck Latney On Air, man. We really appreciate you coming on tonight, for sure.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, man. First things first, man. We did some snooping around, and well, we found that you were a producer prior to becoming an A&R. And the first thing that sparks, my mind is what was your transition? Because you've been producing music for almost about 10 years, right? And during that journey, you decided that you wanted to go and pursue the A&R career path. So what made you make that switch?
What maybe made the switch was one, I guess, is being a fan of music, but that's sort of like the general answer people give. But the real reason why, it was actually a Twitter rant that got me the job.
What?
So I went on. So Bodak Yellow had just blew up, right? And I was going on Twitter, and I was like, I told y'all Bodak Yellow back in September of the previous year that Bodak Yellow was the one that was going to blow up. Nobody believed me. So I started going through my Twitter. I've been on Twitter since 2009. And so I was like, look, remember Wiz Khalifa, First Flight? Told you was going to blow up. Remember Tyga, Outrage and Underage? Told you was going to blow up. Remember Nipsey Hussle, Bullets Ain't Got No Names? Told you he was going to blow up. So I did all these screenshots telling people, like, look, listen, if I'm telling you that this person is going to blow, you may want to at least listen to what they have to say.
Seriously.
So, So the guy that hired me, name is Marco. Marco is based out in Romania, but I met him through an internship when I moved up here to New York. I met him at AES, and he got me on the phone. He was like, look, listen, if you can do that, then you can do this.
I mean,
and
very true.
This whole thing was like, if you're snooping around finding these mixtapes, spending hours on SoundCloud just for a hobby, why not just get paid for it? It's like, okay. So, we went over the terms and how A&Rs get paid and everything else, and it sent over the offer letter, and I signed it. So I've officially been an A&R about 18 months now.
Wow.
Nice.
So you accidentally walked yourself into a career path. So, I mean, it was just something you already did. It was a hobby. It was a skill. I mean, you obviously foresee a couple of well-known people, blow up, that's a good skill. You know what I mean? Not a lot of people can do that. So.
Yeah. I'm not sure, and that's the thing. Like, I don't know if I ever want to try to break down the science of finding an artist before they blow. I just know what I like,
Right.
And I like just raw, unique talent. Like Tyler, the Creator. The first video I saw him in was "Check My French." They had like the buggy, they're going down like the hill and everything else. And I remember the girl dating at the time was like, "Yo, she was great in this, that, and the third," and she was like, "He's weird." The next week he releases what's the video he's eating the roach?
That
one. The next week he releases that and it goes viral. So I caught him a week before the rest of the world knew who they were, because they were at South by Southwest the previous year running into Steve Rifkin, and they just looked like a whole bunch of like hipster black kids. Nobody was taking them seriously. It was like 12 of them at the time. So
yeah,
like whatever.
I remember that. Yeah. It's crazy because I think I kind of see what's going on. You're good at pointing out people who are original to themselves, and you can see kind of, they're not really just replicating anybody, but they're so true to themselves that you can see it in their music. You can see the passion, something like that. I'm not speaking for you, but I can just see like.
No.
You know what I mean?
I appreciate you maybe giving me more credit than I deserve, but yeah, it's definitely a thing. It's just that like I remember just going on MySpace way back. I'm really showing my age. Dang.
Hey, man, all of us.
I remember going on MySpace and downloading music, and what got me into that was, I don't even know if you guys even are old enough to remember. You may be, because we melanated people look young. You guys remember Jen, the Asian rapper that went on Central Park?
I do remember Jen.
So I actually went and found his page and discovered that he's now a gospel artist. Believe it or not. And so I was like, okay, I'll check it out. And so I downloaded the music, and then I just went into like this rabbit hole, because at one point you could download music for free off of people's MySpace player. And so that led me to just, I just kept doing it. It just became a habit. I was always looking for new music. I love the artists that only have like 15 followers. That's what I'm looking for. Yeah. Like the 15,000, cool. But the person in like Little Rock, Arkansas that can sing or behind off, or like the dude in like Charleston, South Carolina that can rhyme in every single pocket you can imagine, like those are who I'm looking for. The people who are like way off and obscure, because as an A&R, it's about the long game. So me and Marco always says that we're looking for a person who we can build for the next 2 to 3 albums. It's different. It's not like, oh, well, let's see what happens in 2 years. Or like, no, let's build this person for the next 2 to 3 albums, because it's an investment. Because you're building this person literally from A to Z. And for me, that's usually my target, is who's a person that no one is looking at, that we can not mold, but we can
bring to the light, let everybody see.
Yeah, like come see the superstar I told you guys about 4 years ago. Not,
right.
Hey, look, I'm right next to this artist who already is, already has his own deal with whomever.
Yeah.
Okay.
Have you ever foreseen? I'm sorry, I didn't mean to
go for it.
But have you ever foreseen any like doubt with like artists that you've tried to find and like bring to like a bigger level?
Yeah, unfortunately, yeah, that does happen, because there's like key things, right, that'll help an artist get over that hump. Fortunately and fortunately for me, I haven't found an artist that can get over that hump. Now, there is one I am developing now named Jay Daniel. He's an R&B artist. He's from Queens. And within a 6-month time period, me and my business partner got him literally from... Jay had never even recorded a voice memo. When I mean, he was like completely fresh. I mean, he was completely fresh. He was just a guy that sang in the church. We got him from putting out his own single to him headlining his own show at SOBs.
Wow.
Right before the pandemic. That was in a 6-month span. So I know for sure that we have a superstar like in the mix, because every time I pitch his music to someone, the first thing they say is like, "Where is he? Can I meet him?" This, that, and the third. And this is something I'm pretty sure you guys heard before, but I know from this end, because again, I've only had the job 18 months. You have something when the labels are no longer asking what are the analytics.
Yeah.
That's when you know you have something, because now it's like, forget all that. What does he look like? How does he sound? Can we meet him? Can he sing for? Can we come to the performance? That's when you know, like, okay, I have something special. It's not. It's about the business, but like they're literally invested in art itself, and that's when you know you got something.
Yeah. So you said, kind of piggyback off of what you were saying. You stated that you guys found him before he even had his first memo or his first single. Now he has his first headliner at an SOB. So what's the process like? Just kind of like a general behind the scenes type of thing of, what the A&R kind of has his hands on to help an artist get from, where he was to where he is now.
Bro, I wish someone had told me what the job entailed before I took it. I didn't. See, as a producer, I'm just focusing on the record.
Yeah.
Right.
Come in, we create the record. We need to have a musician play something we can. I'll bring in a vocal producer, and we're good. And the A&R is literally there from A to like number 9. You know how you look at the alphabet and it goes over from 0, 1, 2, 3, all the way to 9. You're literally there from like, you are the first one in the studio and you are the last one to get on the train.
Wow.
Because it's not just a record. You are developing an artist. You feel what I'm saying? So for So for Jay, because he sings falsetto, and he's used to being in like the tenor section of the church, it's like, no, you have to be out front. So we had to bring in a vocal producer and a vocal coach. And then from there, I had to bring in background singers to give them a unique show. And then we had to bring in a choreographer. And then I had to bring in an engineer. Like, it became like a piece. So it was more than just putting together records. It's literally, even when like, we would have Zoom calls like this.
Yeah.
And every Wednesday from 7 to 8, we would have vocal practice. I can't sing worth the lick, but I'm playing my piano over the Zoom. Just to, like, what producers are doing that? You feel what I'm saying? Like, some producers do, but that's the job of an A&R. It's whatever it takes to develop this guy. Literally from the minute he walks into the door until the minute he's on the plane to go perform in Japan.
Wow.
Okay.
So
it's a totally different beat.
There's a lot that goes into it that I never really considered. I mean, like, you're developing an artist. You know, you're finding the artist. You're finding talent, and then from what I know, you're doing a lot of marketing. You know what I mean? It's I feel like there's it's you kind of just like, I'm not gonna say mostly the brains of the operation, but you're just like you're almost the third party looking in at the artist, saying, this is where you need to be, let me help you get there. You know what I mean? And then there's a lot that goes into it, so I didn't really know that.
Okay, now with all
it's totally collaborative. But
oh, excuse me, I was just gonna say, with all that being said, I was just wondering, you know, with going independent being such a more popular route to go down, can you at least try to explain the relevancy of even signing to a record label or having an A&R, like the importance of having these kind of tools behind an artist's back versus going independent?
So, the main difference is, okay, how do I say this to be PC so that way no one's in comments talking about that? No, I don't want to make anyone upset. But signing with a major label is you have the machine behind you. So, for instance, the artist today is they'll put the music on CD Baby or whatever, and then they're responsible for marketing that project, and building a brand. So the great thing about that is that it's all hands on you. It's on you. So it's a very slim chance that you'll put something out that misrepresents you, because if you're not comfortable with it, then you're probably not going to do it. Yeah. With a major label, the great thing and the bad thing about it is that it's all green light. So take Sweetie for example, right? She is like skyrocketing right now, right? And so she has these singles out, and all these great things are happening. She can do hot ones. She can, go walk on like the red carpet, and that's what the label does. Because if you're an independent artist, how many people in Hollywood do you have a relationship with that you can call and say, hey, can I just come walk the red carpet and just go to the premiere? Probably not that much. Yeah. Right. So that's the great thing about it, is that like you are literally in front of everyone. You are in front of everyone from Times Square, New York, to like the smallest suburb right outside of Portland. Like, you're in front of everyone. The bad thing about it, using Sweetie as an example, was they released a video and song without her approval, because they felt like they keep the wave going, right? Because she's not touring just like a lot of artists are, but they want to keep the wave going. So there's content out there that she didn't approve, she didn't overlook, or anything like that. And it's like, there's nothing you can really do about it, because it's up to the label, because they're the ones putting the money up.
So I can see that, like, almost the pros and cons of this. The pros, obviously, is just you have a lot more connections. You have a lot more eyes. You have you have a broader audience to actually get and see your content.
Right.
The con to not being an independent artist, you have less control of the content and how much content you put out at a time.
Yeah, and as an independent artist, it's tough. Me and Marco was talking about this, because there was this artist in Kenya that I was going crazy over. And I was like, yo, this is the guy, and we're still keeping communication, whatever. But I asked Marco, I said, yo, what are we looking at in regards to break this kid? And he told me, he goes, well, the last manager I spoke with was The Weeknd's manager, and they told me when House of Balloons came out,
little technical difficulty, ladies and gentlemen. One moment.
To get it in front of a major label.
I'm sorry, sir. We did just lose you for a second.
Yeah.
Would you mind repeating just
Yeah,
the last
same, yeah.
statement you said? I'm sorry about that.
Yeah, so Marco spoke with the Weeknd's manager, and he said right around the time when they released House of Balloons, they were already spending close to $300,000 to promote him, and that was before he got in front of a major label. That was before the conversation with Drake.
Wow. Dang.
That's crazy.
I mean, that
Right.
yeah.
So when I say like you're developing someone from A to Z, if I was just a producer, just make sure that you have my fee, my budget, so I can produce the records. Cool, I'll show up to a couple events, this, that, and the third. I make sure they're listening to the artist. And yes, I gotta say.
Yeah.
Because now I need to make sure I get him in front of this person because this producer may have the particular sound. If I don't have the type of beat he's looking for, this producer can do it.
Yeah.
So it's a completely different beast, you know.
So as an A&R, like definitely during these times, and you know, with the pandemic and everything going around, how do you use what you've learned to like actually recruit people who have, you know, during this like pandemic, really?
It's the filter I use is more of just the work ethic at this point. If you're an artist and you're still coming up with the excuse of like, because of the pandemic, I can't do this, that, and the third, there's nothing I can't really work with you.
Okay.
Because there's going to be tough times because I'm always thinking 2 or 3 years ahead, which can be a good thing and a bad thing. But when I'm looking for an artist, it's just the work ethic and the superstar quality. I believe it was what's my man's name from American Idol? Something Jackson, Randy Jackson. He says the it factor is actually the it factor is the person who says I'm going to make it no matter what. And to be completely transparent but also fair, I haven't seen that from a lot of artists that I've come across. Yeah. It's more of as long as the conditions are right, I'm ready to go. Yeah. But the minute something gets in the way, it could be something small like their job has them working like extra 5 hours because they need someone to stay a little bit longer, or they had an argument with their girlfriend, or they had an argument with their boyfriend, or whatever else. And like if it's something that small can deter you from going to the studio and making a song.
Yeah.
If you can't even channel that energy to make a song or to create something, then what's it gonna look like when we have you on the road and you're like somewhere out in Delaware, it's freezing cold, and your mom, you've spoken to your mom, you're breaking out because most people who go on tour, they lose like 10 to 15 pounds and they have a lot of acne because your sleep schedule's all over the place.
Yeah.
You're not comfortable. You probably haven't taken a shower in like 36 hours. Yeah, you have to go on stage and perform in front of all these people.
Yeah.
And it's like, if I can't even get you to press record to make something during this time, why will we invest money for you to go through that?
Exactly.
Many of the obstacles, like
100%.
You can't say that you're dedicated, but you're very conditional. Like life is always going to happen. There's always going to be things that you can't account for that happens in your career. You know what I mean?
Right.
And you have to be able to roll with the punches if you want to be successful. And that goes for everything, not just music. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So we have your the song you sent us. It is called Bartender Babe. Now, what do you have associated with this song that we are getting ready to play here?
Sure. So I co-produced the record. So this song was actually written by Nasira, who's the artist that's singing and performing it. Mm-hmm. And she came to me and she said that she wanted the song to hit hard, but she also wanted like huge dynamics. So what I was responsible for was she had like the basic idea. What I did was I just built on top of it. So she gave me the foundation. I was able to put like the basement and the house and everything else. And with it, because the way it's formatted, it's a very short song, but it's a very like pop-like song. I said, well, I'm just gonna. I produce trap, boom bap, R&B, so I'm gonna do that. So the drums that are actually in there are actually like from like a drum kit, like an R&B drum kit. The claps in there from like a trap kit, and there's hi-hats in there just in the back that you really listen to the song, you can hear them. And we added like different elements and stuff like that, so that way it has like this unique. It still has like the pop elements, But if you listen to it, it hits like it's darn near like a trap record.
Okay. All right. That's advertising right there. All right. So we're going to go ahead and play the song Bartender Babe, co-produced by Hänz Nobe. Let's give it up, guys.
All right.
All right. You guys ready? Let's do it.
Baby, know you drive me crazy, thinking I'm your lady, but I'm just your bartender, babe. I've been in the bar, working all night for a credit card. Came in and sold my day, find that never really happens to me. I get this feeling, this tension overheating, the signs that I've been reading. It's me who needs a shielding. Yes, it's me who needs a shielding.
That was Bartender Babe.
Nice.
Co-produced by Hänz Nobe, singing by Nasira.
Okay, so if I had to say a question that I definitely would love to ask is, like when you're when these tracks are being produced, do you kind of etch the artist to make sure that they don't to like lock themselves into one kind of genre of music?
Well, as far like for like a single record or like an album,
like
or
a single record, or I guess more so like a record. Like
I'll push a little to the like the left or the right. So for instance, like I said, for Sarah, this is some of the elements we had in her record, and then like for Wins, for his album, for Project Mayhem, because he's a poet, it's like, well, why don't we showcase that? So there's the title track is actually the last track that is him doing poetry, but there's also R&B record, which usually does like hard boom bap. So I had to push him to the left. So yeah, for artists, I will, because at the end of the day, the idea that's in an artist's head is probably like the greatest idea of all time. But how do you translate that to the average listener?
That's true.
And that's what a lot of artists forget, is that someone, if you're going to put this out on Spotify, Apple Music, Tidal, keep in mind other people are going to listen to it. So how would you feel if you sat behind 15 random people and they all listen to your song individually, and all of them skip within the first 5 seconds.
Wow. A lot of people do not understand that concept.
Yes.
And at the same time, I get it. It's kind of hard because you want to make the music you want to make, but at the same time, can you apply this to the music industry? Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's like that's crazy. I definitely did enjoy this the jam. So you said you it was co-produced by you, and you did the drums behind this project?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
As well as the crowd that you hear that's swelling in the background.
Yeah. Okay. Do you dabble in engineering at all as well?
Yeah, I do. I mix. We did the first mix for her, and because of those elements, we couldn't quite get it right. So Sarah actually took it to Studio 91 out in Whitestone, and they mixed. But I know Reyes and Tyler, so I was able to listen to the mix and go, okay, I get the idea.
Right.
But for the most part, yes, sometimes it doesn't happen. Sometimes the artist wants to do their own thing, which is okay, which is fine. But yeah, as far as like creating the record from the first key that's touched until it's mastered, I'm there.
Okay. My last question to you, sir, would be, what are you most passionate about, and what do you see yourself doing as far as long time goals from this point forward?
So my business partner and I, we started a company called Room 380, and
Right.
what it is it's a company focused on not only production but also content engineering for artists. And what I mean by that is most artists, when they drop a project, that's it. It spam a whole bunch of people. They may have an email list, but then that's it. So what I've been able to do with my experience with a beat battle that was in Houston called the Space City Beat Battle, I was one of I was one of the ones responsible for getting like sponsorships. So what I've learned is that you can actually combine the two. So with artists and with like the previous project we've done before is creating the record, creating the content behind it, and then using that for business opportunities. You can actually create jobs behind one record. So I'll give you an example. So for instance, for like Bartender Babe, she's going off and doing her own thing, but she is doing something that I pitched already, which is like, hey, you can have a podcast called Bartender Babe, and you can just interview bartenders and talk about their experiences. You can have a Bartender Babe cocktail. You can actually get that into cocktail books and magazines.
You can have a Bartender Babe challenge on TikTok.
Yeah,
I get what you're saying.
Most artists are not thinking past the merchandise.
Gotcha.
How I got this idea from one of my favorite producers named Alex the Kid. Alex the Kid, he was part of that wave where like all like Eminem and Dr. Dre stuff sounded like super cinematic. They had like the huge drums and everything else.
Yeah.
So that was him. And with he took his record label from just creating songs to now they own an island that's a resort. He was able to combine the knowledge he had from the industry, and he said, here's Imagine Dragons. Here's Imagine Dragons tour. Hey, Imagine Dragons has now partnered with IBM to create a system that can help songwriters develop lyrics for their songs. And they can do it based on key and BPM. Then he took that to a content agency, and now that's translated into a resort. That all came from him producing Imagine Dragons. Keep in mind, this is a hip-hop producer.
Wow.
And so he's just like, and he took it all the way there. And so he was the one that gave me the idea, like, we keep forgetting that music was created to sell the CD. It wasn't just the CD itself. The CD itself is blank. But I can sell you this 25-cent CD for $16 because it has all these MP3s on it.
Got it.
So when we got rid of the CDs, you now have all these DSPs that we keep feeding all this music to.
Yeah.
So for an artist, like you can apply those same principles. So if you're in Houston, my hometown, and you release a record, you can release that record all the way to the point where you have your own TV show. But the most artists aren't thinking that way because they haven't been conditioned to think that way because the narrative is still think like 1997. My company will teach the artists not only how to think that, implement it, but we can also push for brand partnerships as well because you're dealing with two people that have the experience. I'm not afraid to get on the phone with Jägermeister and say, hey, XYZ and this, that, and the third. So that's what we're looking at in the next 5 years, and then we want to scale after 5 years. But you know, man, plan, God last. I could be a radio DJ or something.
Yeah, right. This was my plan, but this is what it turned out to be, and it's a well thought out plan, man.
It Excuse me. It sounds like you guys really take care of the business aspect of music, which is overlooked tremendously.
Yeah, it's and that was the thing when I started off as an artist. I released my first album like 2007. Again, showing my age. I always thought like, okay, I have an album that I recorded. How am I gonna make money? And so I just applied the same thing I learned from like hustling DVDs at gas stations and at school. I did the same thing with my music. So I created a blog where I would talk about stuff that's happening on campus, and I would just put little reminders of my album, and I was able to sell enough copies where not only did I pay for my books the next semester, I paid off one of my student loans. Nice. And so to me, I thought that was just the automatic thing. Like if you're going to sell, if you say you're going to be in the music business, or you're going to be an artist or a producer, well, how are you going to make money?
Yeah.
So shouldn't you focus on how to make the money?
That's true. I believe that. At the same time, it's hard to kind of make money the main motivator because the content is partially like the most important thing. Someone said in a blog that I read not that long ago, like being successful in music is almost 90% marketing and 10% talent. I don't know if I completely agree with that, but yeah.
Being on this side, I kind of agree with I remember it was this is 2020 to 2018. I think I spent 75% of my time outside the studio. Like when everyone was like, "Oh, you really doing it?" Because I was outside more. I was going to more events. I wasn't in the studio as much. Yeah, I hated it because I wanted to work on records.
Yeah.
But I noticed that the more hands I shook, the more I would get the call, "Hey, Han, come to this event." All right, cool. And I'll go there and it's like, "Oh, hey, this is Atlanta Records. This is Slim. This is actually the guy that shooting music videos for Atlanta Records. He's actually working on one with Meek Mill and Drake." Oh, okay. So that's how all that happened. So it's give and take, but yeah, there are times where like I'm just at events, I'm in studio sessions that I'm not even behind the board. There are times, I'm at album release parties, and in the back of my mind, I'm thinking, I just want to be in the studio, but I can't get where I need to be just staying in the studio.
That's true. I mean, and that's the sucky part. I mean, because like you really do love music and you want to create music, but in the music climate that we're in today, you really have to find people. You gotta socialize.
Yeah.
You gotta, you definitely have to market yourself. That being said, man, what's your Instagram name for those who want to, definitely check you out?
Yeah, everything. You can just go to HänzNobe.com, HANZNOBE. That has all my stuff there. If you want to find me on Instagram, at Hänz Nobe, at pretty much anything Hänz Nobe you're gonna find.
Okay. All right. Is there anything that you want to leave with anybody who is trying to walk down the same path as you? Any potential fans,
new listeners.
See, for the artists, I would say that revenue is your oxygen for your music. You want to shoot that music video, you need revenue. You want to create that merchandise line, you need revenue. If you want to go on tour in Turkey, you need revenue. That would be the thing I would say for artists. As far as the producers, I really want to. I'm really trying to like dispel this conversation, and I hope I get to a level of celebrity where we can like vet this. But for the producers, showing up to the studio every day, this does not mean you automatically get success. It's a prerequisite. It's not the determining factor. So everyone is high and mighty about, I made 40 beats today. Cool. Have you made any records? And that's the thing that I need to get people back on, because now there's conversations where other producers are saying, you're not a real producer if you use a preset. And so what that tells me is that we have gotten so far away from the whole purpose of a producer to just a small world. And it's like, there's a slew of artists out there who would love to work with you, but because of the content you put out, just the way you come off, they don't want to work with you. Our goal has always been to create records. I don't care if you use a loop, I don't care what preset you use. Doug Morris, David Geffen, I'm talking about the high big guys in like these labels.
Yeah.
Like, they don't care if you use a loop. They're like, okay, cool. We can get it. If it's a sample, we can get it cleared. What's the problem?
Yeah. Sometimes it's
And
a pride
so,
thing.
like, right. Like Jimmy Iovine wasn't sitting there looking at Dre like, hey man, the Focus use a loop, or was that a no?
Okay.
That's not even a conversation.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So the focus should be create records. Forget it. Everything else is just a component. Focus on creating records and stop acting like because you made 50 beats today that all of a sudden you should get the check to be successful. You're supposed to show up every day. That's your job.
Right.
Very true.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Hänz Nobe, we definitely appreciate you coming on tonight. I definitely believe that this was a very constructive conversation, not just for us, but anyone listening to the podcast.
100%.
So,
I'm glad you guys got some out of it. I can go back to sleep now.
Nice.
all right. Thank you, brother. This is Breck Latney On Air, man.
All right.
All right.
Have a good night.
Take care.
Y'all be easy. Peace.
All right.
Do I hang up now?
Oh, yeah, you good.
Okay. Y'all be easy, man.